And I think a lot of times people, when they start writing, if they have a concept, they'll write a page or something. Then they go back and they edit it, and then they rearrange it. I would say just write what you're feeling, write your thoughts. That's what the editors, that's their job. Our job is to write, it's their job to edit. There's, obviously, from grammaticals and syntax and all that kind of stuff, that's what they worry about. So as a writer, if you have a feeling that's something that you really really want to share with the world, then you just write it. And if you're a speaker, as I shared with you earlier, that if you're a speaker, you have that advantage, because if you go out to speak, always make sure you record it if possible. Because a lot of times when I speak live, it may be different than what I have on my paper, and I'm able to go back and pull those notes in order to in other future projects. So the first thing to do is just to start writing. And once you get that all down, if you know your subject matter that you want to write about, just start that process, and don't worry about, how it's flowing at this point. Just if there's a collection of stories, document things. For me, I had to, I went back and actually asked my grandmother, and I did some research on some of the things that I was talking about, because I wanted to get that foundation correct. So sometimes it would require you to do some research on that subject matter, so that when you're writing, it makes sense, not just to you, but to your audience. But the main thing is just to write, and I tell my clients, they have to make it a priority. I met a gentleman the other day that he said that he asked me how long did it take me to write my book, and I said 10 weeks, and he said he's been writing his for 20 years. And he's still not done. And I'm like, you got to get it done. If that's your priority and you really want to get this book out, you've been writing on it for 20 years. At what point do you say now is the time? And a lot of people, they leave this earth with so much in them that someone else could have benefited from hearing that story. So
So true,
jot
so
down
true.
things, jot them down. Keep a journal beside your bed. I have a journal beside my bed. I have something in my purse. I have something in the car, because I'm driving down the road. Sometimes I have to pull over because it's like, things are downloaded. I use my phone as a recorder, sometimes going to work, because it's in my head. I can't stop and write. So as a writer, you have to write. And that's the best advice. You just write, and then when you hook up with the right company and the right publisher, the right editor, they will ensure that those thoughts that you have, they will help format that. But the key is you got to get it on paper.
So I start writing, I get it all down. When do I contact you?
Um, at any point, you can contact me before you had the idea, and we can kind of talk about what does that look like. Or if you're completely done with your writing and you want to have my consultant services at that point, we can do that. So it would just depend on you as an individual.
Wow, you obviously have a wealth of wisdom in this process and the passion to support people through the journey in this process. What what words of wisdom can you share with the Miss Nina B family to encourage them to step out on that dream of writing a book?
So how I would encourage you would be to just say, just do it. I think about this process of being a writer, an author, now a published author, as leaving a legacy for my kids. My great grandkids, my great 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 grandkids will always have this documentation of in my first book, when I talk about my life. There are stories in there they'll hear about their great grandfather and me. So that would be my advice, is just do it. When God gives you those ideas, sometimes, I always say, be crazy enough to do it. And people look at you and they're like, I cannot believe this is, she's doing this and she's doing that. But being obedient to that, stepping out, doing it, and keeping him first in the process will allow you to reach that dream and to be all that he has called you to be. But it first starts out, you just have to just do it and leave that legacy for your children's children.
I love that. Leaving that legacy is an important factor. I think some people probably don't even think about that. They just think about, oh, what the people currently in my life are going to think when they read it. But if you think generations ahead will have access to this, they get an insight as to your life, what you were feeling, what you were experiencing as part of their history.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Felicia, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time and honoring the Miss Nina B Show with an interview to share all the phenomenal things you're doing. And not even all of them, because we could have talked about your speaking, your event planning, all the other things that you have going on. But particularly in the book writing and publishing space, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to our family, the Miss Nina B family, and sharing your experience and your words of wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me.
Miss Nina B family, if you want to deal with or write a book and deal with someone who will encourage you, coach you through the process, please reach out to Miss Felicia Lucas. Her website is FeliciaLucas.com. You can also find her on Facebook, and I will also have her information on my website for your easy access. Thank you so much. Remember, be empowered, be encouraged. Walk boldly into your dreams. You are great. Thank you so much.